It's Temu time. This is Lillian, my girlfriend's mom. She lives in Venezuela, and last week she sent us a message asking if she should buy a phone from Temu. And honestly, as a software engineer, I should know the answer, but I didn't. Sure, the price is right, but do any of those actually work? And what about security? Oh, that's not good. So today I'm testing a chaotic lineup of smartphones, from tiny phones that barely fit in your palm to high-end knockoffs like this Galaxy S24 clone, which costs 1/10 of the price of the real thing. How is that possible? Cheap phones are actually getting really good. Meanwhile, good phones aren't getting cheap. So can we use Temu to beat the system? Let's find out. Now, before cracking into it, I do want to be clear that no money exchanged hands in the production of this video. Neither Temu or any of the phone manufacturers paid me. I spent my own money on these phones to find out which ones are worth it. First up, we have an Android high-end mini phone, 3G unlocked Android smartphone, quad core, dual SIM card slots. This one's got decent stats, got a super small form factor. And this guy seems to be pretty battle tested here because we have 233 reviews and the average rating is a 4.5. Natalie in the States says these are super cute, very sturdy, and yes, it is literally about the size of a debit card. My kids are gonna love these. Everyone's saying how cute it is. So cute and perfect. So cute and perfect. So cute and perfect. Yeah, there's a pattern here. I think someone's gaming the review system here and not putting a whole lot of thought into how they're doing that. So anyways, and guys, when your girlfriend's mom hits you for tech advice, there's absolutely no margin for error. Ooh, look at that aesthetic. It's got that Apple vibe. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. Ooh, okay. Okay, so what do we have here? We have a pair of earbuds, a USB-A to USB-C connector. We have a case. We have a screen protector. All right, well anyways, this thing has 5 lenses on it. Look at that. Oh, turned on. Okay, I see Android booting up here. We have the button on the side, we have the lenses, we have the volume up and down, USB-C, that's where our SIM goes, and I think also our flash memory. Let's turn this thing on. So I'm gonna go ahead and click the side button, and we can see this is basically an old version of Android as far as I can tell. And you can see Twitter is still Twitter, so it's a little bit dated. Let's see what happens if we try to go to surf the web a little bit here. So let's go over to, all right, so the keyboard, well actually it's working. It's just small, but it does actually appear to be working here. Let's see. So let's try to set up Wi-Fi, right? Okay, so we're gonna go to Wi-Fi, and then this is the network I want. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to advanced options, and then we're gonna go to proxy, and I'm gonna proxy it to a network tool on my Mac called Proxyman. So this device is gonna proxy its traffic through here. The point is I should be able to see all the network requests and get a sense for if any nefarious phone home type like backdoor calls are being made. So let's try to surf the web now that Wi-Fi is set up. On Temu, the land of ridiculously cheap tech, some of it useful, yeah, it actually works. First up, this is the 3-in-1 so we're watching YouTube right now. Electromagnetic field tester with 3.5 digit display. It's definitely not perfect, but it does work. Okay, so I do want to show you guys something that I noticed. I'm going to actually restart the phone, and then we're going to monitor everything on my computer, and I'm going to show you some of those kind of sketchy requests that I'm seeing. Okay, so the phone's turning on. It already knows my Wi-Fi network, and so it should start routing traffic through my computer here. Okay, so we start seeing requests come through, Weather World, Apple.com, that all looks pretty standard, right? But even here, okay, so most of these look legit. Facebook, YouTube, Google. But then you have photo.redstone.net .cn:7100. But the top level domain, which is like .com or .net, that sort of thing, you can see is .cn, which usually indicates China. And I just don't recognize this domain. I'm not really sure what's going on here. So for some of these requests, we can actually see the data that's sent back and forth. Whether you can decrypt the network traffic is like hit or miss. It has to do with the application and how it handles TLS. But fortunately for us, it looks like we're intercepting. So this is the data being sent to the server. This is the data being received back from the server. I'm more worried about data leaving my phone and going to the server. I don't really care if the server sends anything back. In fact, the server might be set up to not send anything back, but it still could log data being sent to the server. When I look at this, it mostly looks like it's information about like the OS, the device type. It does have my IMEI number, but I'll be honest, it looks like it's more related to checking for firmware updates. FUMO would be like firmware update module object request or something like that, I think. I think this request is fairly benign. I think it's like checking if we should notify the user to make a firmware update. That's my understanding. But it's still like, this is not something that would come out of the box on Android. This means they've added additional software on probably a fork of Android. Clearly some data is being sent, but where's it actually going? So the way you do that is you grab the host name. The host name is like it's the server essentially. The host name is always going to resolve to an IP address. And to get that IP address, we can use a command line tool called dig. So I'm going to do dig on the host name. And then what this is basically saying is that there's an A record. You might have heard of things like C names and stuff like that. So an alias record that's pointing to this IP address. So this is actually where the data is going. And then what we can do is we can go to MaxMind. MaxMind is a tool that comes from Akamai, which is one of the biggest content delivery networks in the world. So they just really have a good sense for like, this IP address resides here, because IP addresses can rotate and things like that, but they kind of keep track of a lot of that stuff. So I'm going to throw this IP address here and see what information we can get back. Okay, so I see Alibaba is the organization. I don't think that means it's like from Alibaba. I think that would be like if it were to say Google or Amazon, which would really mean that it's using like AWS or GCP. But I do see it's in Frankfurt, Germany, which is just peculiar. It's just an odd place for my Temu phone to be sending data, I guess. But what was even more interesting was if we come back to Proxyman here, and let's take a look at these other requests that are being made. Most of these look fine. Okay, and then here was one of the other requests that I found to be kind of sketchy. Again, it's a weird domain and it's a weird port. Let's see if we can see any information about this. It might be obscured, but let's see. All right. Yeah, it seems to work. All right, so let's go back and try some of the other functions. So like, let's take a look at the camera here. Okay, so we are recording a video right now. Here's my Venmo card for scale. Let's try to get some cellular service on this thing. Okay, so I bought a SIM card here from Tello. So we're gonna see if we can't use this physical SIM to get our phones onto cellular and mobile data. So I'm gonna go ahead and activate this guy. Okay, so per these instructions, I'm gonna go to tello.com/activate. Okay, and then it's asking me for my activation code. The activation code's down there. So I'm gonna enter that in. Okay, looks like we might be in business here. I'm gonna go ahead and just throw this in the phone and see if it starts to work. Okay, so we're gonna put the SIM card in here and see if we can place a call. So again, opening up the SIM tray, grabbing my Tello card here. Let's see how this one likes it. Okay, and then I believe it wants it like that. Yes, it does. All right, let's see if we can't get on the network. I'm gonna go to settings real quick. I'm gonna go to mobile network. All right, looks good. We see 3G, so that looks promising. Let's go ahead and try to place our call here. There it goes. Ah, yes, I'd like to order a pizza, please. So, this guy can place calls just fine over 3G here in the States. We have this beautiful 4-inch HD screen plus face unlocking dual SIM mini smartphone. The best gift for children. It's very Apple inspired. They're trying to say it's as big as a credit card. And I'll be honest, with some of these smaller phones, I really just wanted to know how these could actually be real. I was more intrigued than anything. Okay, and so this guy came in at $46.80. Boom, we got another one. Let's see what we get this time. Ooh, it's an Inception package. Package within a package. All right. Let's see what we got. Ooh, we got Russian doll packages going on here. Why settle for one piece of plastic when you can have 3? Ooh, look at that aesthetic. I mean, come on. Tim Cook is envious right now. I like it. I love the packaging. Very Apple inspired, which I can appreciate. And then we have, ooh, this is nice. I can already tell. Okay, so we have a little SIM key here. We have a lanyard. Probably not going to use that. We have a USB-A to USB-C. We have a case. Screen protector. Ooh, okay, so we have some stats. This is the XS18 Pro Max. Okay, so this is more akin to an iPhone. It's longer than the other phones. I believe 3 cameras there. It's got a pretty nice aesthetic to it. Like I like that. Okay, so this is interesting. The colors are super vibrant, but it's not that sharp. There just seems to be a little bit of a blur on everything. So I'm going into the camera here. Take a couple shots. 1, 2. Capturing video, capturing video, capturing video. Yeah, it's kind of a bummer. I don't know if it's just the aspect ratio or what. Okay, so we set up Wi-Fi here, and we're seeing those same peculiar network requests. So we see this one here. I don't know. Again, they're all making calls to the same foreign servers. I wish I wasn't seeing that. I can't guarantee that what they're sending is nefarious, but I don't like that. But notably for this device, it tries to emulate iOS, and which is interesting because this is actually Android. But you see like gallery, looks like, you know, the Photos app, calculator. These all look like iOS apps. So I don't know if it's just like the skin for Android or what. It's clearly trying to stick with the theme of an iPhone, you know, different apps, right? So it's probably just a flavor of Android that emulates iPhone. I guess if you really like that Apple aesthetic, this is probably the way to go. Next up is the mini smartphone 3-inch HD touchscreen, unlocked Android, compact and portable design, perfect gift for youngsters and students. BezosMax. That's just insult to injury right now. And I love how that's the brand, BezosMax. This thing, I'm very curious if this scale is like accurate. Like you're telling me it can like fit between my fingers like that. I'm calling BS on that. But hey, I've been impressed before. Let's see what this video shows. Well, I can already see it's not quite like that. It says 10.5 millimeter thickness. And I'm just gonna call BS on that. 3-inch screen from corner to corner. People just enjoying their life with their little phone. We have a 5 megapixel camera. We have a 0.3 megapixel front face camera. What else? 900 milliampere battery, USB-C charging. That all looks good. All right, this one has 18 reviews, and the average review is 4.4 stars. So this is coming from the States. My daughter loves this little cute phone. It works just like a real phone. It's just the size of a fireplace remote. What do you mean a real phone? I thought this was a real phone. I mean, it didn't say toy, it says mini smartphone. This guy came in at $29.51. Boom. All right, so small, innocuous package right here. Let's see what we can't get. Okay. Nice little box here. It says Android camera, music, mini phone. We got some barcodes on the back. Wow, this thing is small. Oh. Okay. We have a transparent case here. That is satisfying. All right, so first impressions is it's definitely new. It looks quite nice. It fits in my hand. I think the form factor is pretty on par with how it was advertised. Let's give it a quick dimension check here. What they mentioned, which was 10.5. It's not, it's 11.4.
Another woman, you said no. The lie detector determined that was a lie.
All right, and then let's go ahead and get the SIM tray opened. Okay. And then let's see, let's throw the Telo card in there. Ooh. Okay, so we have the SIM card in there. It says 3G, which is what we'd expect. Let's try placing a call here, so. Okay, so I'm gonna make that call again. Just go to my recents this time. There it goes. Hello. Okay, this one I am pretty excited about. This was a little bit more expensive, came in at $77.90, and this is a smartphone, 8 gigabytes, presumably that's the RAM, 256 gigabytes, presumably that's the storage, dual SIM support, 6.8-inch HD display, unlocked mobile phone. And you can see this looks like, an Android phone for the most part. Okay, so this has a cool feature where you can unlock the phone by using your fingerprint, but on this screen. So under the screen, it contains advanced technology, obviously, innovative screen fingerprints, flash, touch, and flash unlock. Sensitive, 80% ascension. I don't know exactly what that means, but that's a cool little feature. I don't think I've seen that before, so I'll be interested to test that out. So this phone features an E-pen or a stylus, and I've never used a phone with a stylus, but they say don't knock it until you try it. Okay, let's take a quick peek at the reviews. So we have 101 reviews, which is on the higher end, and a 4.3 average rating, which is pretty good. Let's see what these say though. Outstanding delivery time and good quality. Thank you for your business. That doesn't quite make sense, but okay. Very satisfied and way better than I expected, so that looks promising. Wendy Stonewalter in the United States. She threw up some pictures here. Looks okay. Product came very fast and everything that it said it was in the box was in the box. Very happy with the look of the product except one problem. The back of the phone has already got a protector sticker on it, which does not come off very easily, and it is scratched and bubbled, and that does not look real nice. It wouldn't have had bubbles in the front screen, had a protector of some sort on it, which also bubbled not on. Okay, so Wendy is not a fan of bubbles, and apparently this phone has them. Great specs, and even included a screen protector and TPU case. But then I noticed a suspicious lag when entering text, and secure apps like for my bank and stockbroker couldn't be loaded. Very sus. Switch off when refueling. What is this, like a gas-powered smartphone? Don't use near fuel or chemicals. Honestly, that's really weird. Switch off in hospitals. Why? I can't use this in a hospital? Boom. Let's see what we got here. Ooh, this guy's legit. Okay, so this is our, so this is a more legit phone. This is a 6.8-inch HD display, dual SIM, and it kind of looks like the Samsung Galaxy, has the stylus and all that fun stuff. So let's go ahead and, so, the box is a little banged up actually. Getting excited here. What do we have for accessories? So we got a charging block. That looks good. It's super light. Weird. Got some fake AirPods, USB-C, and then I believe, yep, USB-A to USB-C. Got a case similar to the others. I'm not going to use that because I just like to raw dog it. We have a screen protector. The phone. Ooh. This thing is heavy. So I have high hopes for this. This ran us $77.35. Okay, so this looks much more like a phone that I would expect. So I'm gonna need to charge it, but I gotta say the screen is quite good. Another fun thing about this phone is that it features a stylus which you can pop right out and click, which is pretty relaxing, although I'm not sure exactly how practical or useful it is, but it's an interesting feature nonetheless. All right, so what do we have for the operating system we're working with? So I'm gonna go to, we're running Android 14. Okay, should be connecting to my Wi-Fi. And I see the traffic coming in over here, which is exactly what we'd expect. Okay, so we can see that this server right here was just contacted. So if we grab the IP address to do a reverse lookup, we can go over to MaxMind here, view results, Qingdao, Shandong, China. So this device is 100% sending data back to China. But I'm not giving up yet. Let's try to get the SIM card into this guy and see if we can't get it working. So according to Temu, it says that the cellular technology is 5G. So we should be able to get it working with our SIM card. All right, let's try this guy here. So we're gonna open up the SIM slot. We're gonna throw the Tello card in here. Again, we have 2 SIM slots, which is quite nice. Okay, 5G. Okay, let's make a phone call. Let's go over here. Okay, and it is working. Hello. Boom! We have our final phone here. This is the Xiaomi Redmi 14C 4G LTE. By the way, Gerber utility knives, I highly recommend. I've had this for over 10 years and I use it on the reg. So, link in the description below if you guys want to grab one of these. All right. See, I'm just very curious what the operating system's gonna be on this thing. So let's take a look. Okay. All right, so let's go through the extras real quick. All right, so we have a SIM pin here, and then we have a USB-A to USB-C. Oh. You know, it looks really nice. I'll give it that. We have these cameras here, 50 megapixel AI camera. I'm not quite sure what that means. Ooh, it's got a headphone jack, which is really cool. You don't see those on iPhones anymore. We have a USB-C in there, a couple speakers. So let's go ahead and try to turn this guy on. I see powered by Android, which is exactly what I want to see. See, this is though what I don't get. Xiaomi Hyper OS. So it's probably a fork of Android, but I'm just a little skeptical about that. So the SIM card would go into here, if I'm not mistaken. Open up the SIM slot. We have space for 2 SIMs, which is nice for those who are international. We're gonna put the first one in here, and then we'll slide it right in like that. All right, there it goes. I don't know who you are. I don't know what you want. If you're looking for a ransom, I can tell you I don't have money, but what I do have are a very particular set of skills. We got the actual phone making calls pretty easily. All right, so let's check out some of the other features here. But what you really care about is the RAM, and there's 8 gigabytes of RAM, so this guy should be pretty performant. Okay, so let's do a quick speed test to see what kind of a connection we have. So I'm gonna just go to Google and do run speed test. Let's watch some videos here to kind of get a sense for how good the screen is. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at the camera on this thing, because that's what it was touting as one of its main features here. So let's go ahead and take a couple pictures. And then let's do a little video here. So it looks like it can only record in 720 and 1080p. Okay, and then again, my primary concern is that the operating system just isn't secure. And so I'm just taking a quick peek at some of the traffic coming through here. And I can see that there's a pretty blatant domain here called tracking.intl.imiui.com. And then when I take that host name, I mean, it says tracking, so it's probably pretty obvious what it's doing. But if I do a little dig operation on that, I actually get a couple A names that resolve to Xiaomi, which is fine because I guess it's Xiaomi. But if I take the IP address, the final IP address, quite a few A names here, and I bring it over to MaxMind here and just do a little search, we do get, let's get rid of this guy here, at Singapore. So like there's a pretty obvious beacon going out to Singapore. So overall, the phone, it works pretty well. I'm not having any major issues with it. The screen's quite nice. I wish it did 4K. I wish the camera was better. It only does 1080p. But the real blocker here is I just can't guarantee that the operating system isn't doing nefarious things, or even, you know, like gray hat type things with injections of ads and stuff like that. So, you know, if it's a device like a dishwasher or like something that's not mission critical, like your phone, it wouldn't be as big of a deal. But when you're punching in your password and credentials and maybe accessing things like Coinbase or your bank account, particularly things, any blockchain related things, those security issues become quite amplified. So at the end of the day, you're probably safe with the Xiaomi Hyper OS, which is a fork of Android. But your data is definitely going to China. They're probably creating a signature or fingerprint, which is basically a profile around you. Are they going to steal your crypto keys or hack your bank account? Probably not. For me, there's just too much risk at this point. I would really only put my trust in the main players at this point, because it's just not in their interest to have such blatant security exploits, let alone just the bloatware and malware and things like that. But I still need to get my girlfriend's mom a phone. I'm going to try to find her a budget phone that is first and foremost secure, second, affordable, and third would be an upgrade from her current phone, which is the Samsung Galaxy M21, which is a little bit old at this point. So let's see what we can do here. So I've done a little bit more research, and it looks like a solid upgrade from her current M21 would be either the Samsung Galaxy A35, A36, or A56. And they all just have a couple slight differences with them. But I gotta say, I've been having a bear of a time trying to navigate the secondary market here. So I found what I thought was a pretty good deal on Walmart. It was the Samsung Galaxy A56, which is 5G, This one had 256 gigabytes of storage, which is very solid, and 12 gigabytes of RAM. So this one was like kind of beefed up a little bit. And it was going for $437. And I actually went ahead and purchased that, but then a day later they canceled my order really with no explanation. But if I'm kind of reading between the lines here, it seems that they have listings where they actually don't have the inventory, or they're mispriced. Kind of weird. I guess it was too good to be true, but it's just peculiar that Walmart would be making such egregious errors. So I did a little bit more research. I ended up going to Amazon and I found an A35 that had 8 gigabytes of RAM. And it said it was from the Samsung store, so I was feeling pretty good about it. But then when I went to checkout, it said it was coming from some store I've never heard of. So again, it needs to be sold by a major retailer, either directly Samsung, Walmart, Best Buy, Apple, Google, etc. And I need to make sure that it hasn't been tampered with in any way. So finally, I found a deal over on Best Buy where I was able to pick it up same day, which feels pretty good. It only has 128 gigabytes of storage and only has the 6 gigabytes of RAM. I really wanted to get her the 8 gigabytes of RAM, but they're hard to find, and frankly, they're not available from any reputable sellers as far as I could tell. So I still think this is going to be a pretty big upgrade for her. This supports 5G, which I don't think Venezuela has 5G yet, but they will at some time in the future. So this will kind of future-proof that a little bit. Primarily, this is going to get her on the new Android operating system though, because she's lagging behind a couple versions and that's never good. So she'll get an OS update. The camera's great. The battery, I think, is a 5,000 milliampere. It has the faster charging, the 45 watt charging. This, I believe, has 1200 nits of brightness. So that's going to be an upgrade. And I just think for her needs, she's not doing anything too crazy, not gaming or anything like that, but I still wanted to get her a really solid phone. And at the price point of $339, I feel pretty good about that. So I'm going to go ahead and get that phone for her. And then once we pick that up here, we're going to have to mail it to her to Venezuela. And again, this is an unlocked version, so it should work fine using kind of the local SIM cards in Venezuela. So I got the Galaxy A36, I set it up here in the States. So I did a couple test comparisons between the Redmi 14C and the Galaxy A36. Galaxy definitely had a better camera with a 4K resolution, and the video is just far better. Additionally, the Redmi 14C was a little bit older. It was released in 2024, whereas the A36 was released in 2025. Also, the operating system is newer on the Galaxy A36 since the Redmi is sporting Android 14 and the A36 is sporting Android 15. The A36 also has a brighter display at 1200 nits of peak brightness. And the A36 also has IP67 water and dust resistance as well as 5G cellular connectivity. So although the Redmi 14C had better RAM memory at 8 gigabytes and internal storage at 256 gigabytes, I think the A36 is still a stronger phone. I did what's called a region unlock, which is when you insert a SIM card and just make about 5 minutes of call time, and then we shipped it off to Venezuela. Okay, so I couldn't fly to Venezuela, but I did the next best thing, and we got on FaceTime, and we got confirmation that the phone worked, and ultimately, Lillian was happy. And if she's happy, I'm happy. So yeah, in the end, mission accomplished. And I know, after all that, I just ended up going with the Galaxy A36, because I guess peace of mind just isn't something you can buy on Temu. Yet. For more budget finds, check out this next video. Thanks.